Good evening and welcome to the Tampa Native Show. I'm Hello Dory. Tonight, the Tampa Native Show will cover a topic that we all can relate to. Food, comida, shibo. So stay tuned because the Tampa Native Show starts right now.
Otra vez. Come here. Let me tell you something. I remember Tampa, the way she used to be, the places we would run to, the faces we would see. Yes, I remember Tampa, those precious memories. A city rising on the move, a simple yet progressive groove. I remember Tampa, and she remembers me. Yeah. She remembers me.
Welcome to the Tampa Native Show. Stay tuned now for the fastest 60 minutes in cable broadcast history. Live from the studios at TBCN, the home of the Tampa Native Show. Join your hosts, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella, as they celebrate growing up in Tampa. From Shock Armstrong to Shakey's Pizza, from Braddock Street to Buffalo Avenue. Get ready to call in and tell us your stories, because sharing your memories has never been this much fun. And now, Mario Nunez, the 15-Minute Girl, and Steve Canella.
She remembers me.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Tampa Native Show. You know, if it's Thursday night and it's 7 o'clock, it must be the Tampa Native Show. My name is Mario Nunez. I'm seated alongside my broadcast partners, the 15-Minute Girl, Sally Nunez. And next is Steve Canella. Well, we're going to call him Quito Steve here from now going forward.
Steve Quito Canella.
Quito Canella, I like
Yeah,
that better, I think.
or Skeeto Steve. I like Skeeto Steve. We just made something up brand new. That's Steve Canella, third generation Tampa native, and we are the hosts of the Tampa Native Show. Now, tonight, coming up in just a little bit of fascinating conversation with a fascinating conversationalist.
Very
I'll give
nice.
myself a bell
Very
ring
nice,
on that
sir.
one. Andy Huse from the University of South Florida Library, Special Collections, and an authority on all things about Tampa food. Now, you know, Andy's co-authored a couple of books. We'll be talking a little bit about that tonight as well. And we'll be talking about the origins of some of your favorite meals growing up right here in Tampa. Tonight's question of the night, question of the evening will be, what is your favorite Tampa native indigenous food? What do you remember eating as a small child, or what food has special significance to you and your family? Be sure when you call in, you give us your bolita number. Tonight's bolita drawing will be a little bit different. If you remember when Andy was here the last time, towards the end of the show, he brought out a bolita wheel, just a little different take on, okay, to my right, I'm gonna get that camera right, there it is. Just a little different take on what it is that we do normally, which is with the bolita balls. So tonight's
Very unique.
bolita drawing will be a little bit different. It's gonna be numbers 1 through 16 instead of 1 through 75. So if you wanna win tonight, and tonight what's on the line? Stevie, what's on the line tonight?
Well, we have a gift certificate for La Septima Cafe, and that's a $20 certificate, I believe.
$20 gift certificate courtesy of La Septima Cafe,
Thank you very
Ronnie
much.
and Dalia Fernandez.
Thank you,
And
Ronnie.
if you haven't been to
Dalia.
La Septima recently, what are you waiting for?
Run over there as fast as you
What are
can.
you waiting for? Because I know
Every day there's some new sandwich that just
There are
makes
excellent-
my mouth drool.
excellent
They're like-
restaurants here in Tampa, no question about it. And there are excellent restaurants that also give us that variation on that Spanish food theme that we like to talk about here on the Tampa Native Show. None better than La Septima Cafe, 702 Lumsden Avenue in Brandon. So we have that to look forward to. Make sure that you call in today and give us your bolita number between 1 and 16. Go
Also,
ahead.
what about the star on the skull?
Well, we'll get to that just a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit,
I
darling.
thought
We
you
don't
were
want
going-
to.
I thought you were going to put that up.
Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. No, we'll save the best for last. We won't disclose more than we've already
All right.
disclosed. But we would like to say at this time, we want to give thanks to our sponsors, as we
Yes.
usually do. Stevie, can I read the list real quick?
Absolutely.
Let me go
Let's
ahead
do
and do
that.
that. I'll put on my glasses so I don't muff anything up here. We want to start off by saying thank you very much to PJ Testa Accounting. PJ Testa, who keeps us moving forward,
Cooking.
is arguably our biggest fan and our mentor, our business manager as well. Thank you, PJ Testa.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Philip Cacciatore Brothers, Columbia Jobbing, Audrey
Audrey.
Audrey Lazara, thank you, Stevie. I got it, Steve. That's why we keep Stevie on the panel. Wright's Gourmet Shop and Jeff Mount, who will be a guest on our show here in the next coming few weeks to tell us all about his family
Who I went to high
story.
school with.
Another great
A Hillsborough graduate, class of
And food.
1978, graduated with Hello Dory and Tampa Steve. So we've got that to look forward to. La Septima Cafe, we mentioned earlier. The Chiefless Plantain Chips Corporation, who is on hiatus, on vacation right now. The Argudos are currently
Guatemala.
in Guatemala, tending to some business and eating some amazing cuisine in Guatemala. So we hope they're watching us online currently as we speak. South Tampa Chiropractic Clinic, Dr. Tom Aguero, Caracolillo Coffee Mills, and that's the Faedo family. Thank you all so much. And we're proud to announce and happy to announce that the Brocado Sandwich Shop is back in the fold. Michael and Joe. They'll be also guests on the show in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for that. La Segunda Central, the More family, has offered a contribution, and rumor has it, although the check hasn't arrived yet, Mimi's Cafe is also going to be joining our family of sponsors. We're very, very happy to announce that. Also, another exciting announcement around the Mimi's Cafe sponsorship, and it has something to do with Thanksgiving dinner. Spoiler alert, I'll whisper it in the 15-minute girl's ear. Here's a stage whisper. If you're not doing anything for lunch on Thanksgiving and you'd like to join
I have
us,
plans already, I'm sorry.
and you'd like to join us, a group of us are getting together at Mimi's Cafe. So we'll be talking about that shortly. So everybody's invited, including Andy Huse. Everybody's invited. We'd like to have you join us. Steve, tell us a little bit about the laptop that's on the desk there in front of you.
Well, the laptop's here in case anyone has any questions or they want to ask what the question of the week is, which is your favorite food, your favorite Tampa food, which brings back the most maybe fond memory of Tampa growing up. I know mine already is spaghetti and meatballs with hard-boiled eggs in the sauce. That's mine. So be sure to send that on email or call in too. Now, just to clarify, we're not going to be taking the Belita numbers on the emails that we typically
only
do.
by phone.
Because we've only got 16.
Right.
So to keep it fair and balanced,
Yeah.
because we are fair and balanced here on the Tampa Native Show, we want you to call in tonight with your Bolita number. But
That's
you
right.
can give us your
Question of the day.
day answer. And if you have a
Right.
special question for Andy and you just can't get through, by all means send that in the way. And did you
Mark.
give him that email address?
Well, I was just going to do that. Also, just a quick reminder, go to tampanativeshow.com and click on Visit Our Sponsors and see who's sponsoring the show. Also, the email address is show@tampanatives.com. So looking forward to hearing from you and seeing your emails.
Very nice.
What's coming up in the next few weeks, you might ask? Well, next
Quite a
week,
bit.
our show topic is still kind of in flux. We haven't decided yet, but we're leaning hard towards variety TV shows from the decades of the 60s and 70s. Those wonderful shows like the Ed Sullivan Show that we all grew up. Merv Griffin, Carol Burnett, Mike Douglas, and the list is pretty much endless. Dean Martin. So that's in the upcoming shows, and then of course
fun.
the following week we're going to follow that up with our Halloween show. And if you're not watching the Tampa Native Show on the 25th, I don't know what else you're going to be doing that's going to be more worthy of your time. So that said, also a quick shout out. We talked to him last week, Bobby Floyd. Bobby, if you're out there watching,
Yes.
thank you for turning us on to Lynn Burnett. And I've reached out to Rodney Justo. Rodney, if you're out there watching the show, and we think you might be, we want to have you on the show as well, because we're going to be doing a show in the upcoming weeks on bands. Not just bands.
From Tampa.
Not just
that
garage
started
bands.
here.
Right, not just garage bands, but those bands that actually had their origins here.
Yeah.
That went national, that had significant national prominence, that made it through the Nashville scene or went up to LA or went up to Chicago, jazz, all different genres. Tampa's known for a lot of things, and one of the things is
Music.
great musicians.
Mark, special announcement here, an alert actually from
Sure.
Tom
Alert.
Campbell.
Wait a minute. Alert.
That's
Steve
right.
got an alert.
This is from Tom from New York. Looks like the webcast is showing off air. So Eric, if you can maybe pass that along to you did already? Okay, so they're aware
Okay,
of it.
very good, very
Okay.
good. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Tom.
That Tom
Tom
is
is on it.
Tom is on it from New York, from his home in Poughkeepsie, New York. He also works with Steve in the IT department. So, Tom, thank you very much for that. We
And he
expect-
recently had a birthday, so happy
That's right,
birthday.
happy birthday.
Tom.
Yo, Tommy. What was Tommy's birthday? Just yesterday, wasn't
Yesterday.
it?
It was.
Happy birthday, Tom, from New York. And Tom is one of our weekly winners, man. Nobody wins more than Tom.
Yes.
Hugh Perret
has
comes
the
in
record.
A
close.
lot of coffee.
But yeah, he's a lot of packages we have to mail to New York. All right. Without further ado, at this point in time, if you want to bring up that 4-shot, ladies and gentlemen, it's our privilege, and we're proud to once again introduce you to our dear friend from the University of South Florida, Mr. Andy Huse.
Welcome,
Andy.
Andy.
Thank
Welcome
you.
in.
How
Thank
you doing,
Glad to
man?
have you
Good to
back.
be here.
Andy, he of the gigantic large smile and great stories. We were talking just before we went on the air. Where do you want to start, Andy? Where do you want to start?
Well, we've got so many. Every one of the photographs kind of has a different story.
You want to call one up, or do you just want to kind of talk at them as they come?
Yeah,
up?
I think it would talk as they
Very
come.
good.
But
Very good.
first, I think we should start with our favorite. I haven't heard what your favorite Tampa meals are.
Wow.
Good question.
Lady first?
Oh, gee, thanks. A Cuban sandwich.
Cuban sandwich. Very good.
Pressed or not pressed?
Pressed.
That was easy.
And you know, if I can just say a little bit about the Cuban
Definitely
sandwiches,
pressed.
and we've had many
Yes.
around the area. There's one that kind of stands out currently in my
Yes.
mind. Andy, we talked about this. The Cuban sandwich that they make at La Segunda Central Bakery
That's my favorite.
is very, very good. Now, they're not necessarily known for that.
Yeah.
Because that's, of course,
The bakery.
they're the bakers to the stars. I mean, everybody who makes a Cuban sandwich, worthy of calling it a Cuban sandwich, goes to La Segunda Central to get their bread.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've mentioned this before on the show. Then why wouldn't it be appropriate to think that the freshest bread is going to come from the
Oh, yeah.
bakery?
Yeah.
So if they but they're very humble in their, you know, they don't brag about their sandwich. They don't come eat a Cuban sandwich at La Segunda Central.
I brag for them.
Yeah,
And
no,
we do
I've
too.
never
Yeah.
been disappointed ever with
Yeah.
that
So the Cuban
sandwich.
sandwich, Stevie, you already said the
Mine was-
spaghetti.
well, yes, the spaghetti, but the hard-boiled eggs and the spaghetti sauce. And my sisters and I, when we were kids, we would fight over who was going to get the.
How many hard-boiled eggs would there be?
Well,
One per person?
Yeah, there were 6 in our family, so my father would always put 6 hard-boiled eggs in the
Okay.
sauce,
Okay.
and we're allotted 1 each, you know, and don't dare take 2, you know, it could be a big fight.
Interesting.
But and it wasn't just my family. I thought it was my family at first, but come to find out, a lot of the Sicilian immigrants did the same thing, and we talked about it before. We think it may be that it was a poor man's meatball.
Yeah.
And
Stretch it.
that's the theory that we have.
Yeah, well, there's another version where you take eggs and you mix it with breadcrumbs and make kind of
I've
like
heard
a
of that too.
meatball.
Oh.
Yeah, and
wow.
a friend
And
of
they
mine
send
from
it-
New York used to do that. It's a great way to stretch, your protein.
So would they have to cook them first before they put them in the sauce, or do you know?
I'm not sure if they cooked them first or if they cooked it in the sauce.
we
Yeah.
hard-boiled
I think
them
they would
first.
probably have to cook
No,
it
I
first for it to
mean
bind up.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
do something
Yeah.
like that in the UK as well, and they put inside the egg, and then outside there's a mass, and it's
Oh, yeah, the
Scottish eggs.
Yeah,
Scottish eggs.
Scottish.
And you bake them after they're already pre-cooked at the store, and then you'll typically take them and you'll heat them in an oven.
Yeah.
And it's
Are they good?
They're pretty good.
Really?
And they're filling. They're very
Yeah.
filling. Getting back to my meal, I guess I'll go with the traditional.
Yellow rice and chicken.
No, yeah, I know that's too easy. I'll go with the white rice,
Okay.
the black beans, the roast pork,
Oh.
and the yuca, which is the traditional
Oh,
Christmas
yeah.
meal. And the earliest memories I have, the
Plátanos.
fondest memories I have, were going to Mercedes Cafeteria in Ybor City, and being of age, old enough, big enough to be able to carry the tray back to your table alone, because they were heavy and they used to serve you so much. And as a 4 or 5-year-old kid, very easily you can have a catastrophe, a calamity in the restaurant.
Sure.
So that'll be mine. I'll go with the
Okay.
white rice, not yellow rice. White rice, black beans.
Yeah.
The plátanos, the yuca.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let you have
roast
that
pork.
one.
Well,
How about you,
I
Andy?
was blown away the first time I had picadillo.
That's
I wasn't really prepared for it, and I was like, "Wow!" I mean,
It is
I
good.
didn't think much of it, just ground beef or whatever. But
Very
and
tasty.
Nothing made me love olives and capers so much.
There you go.
It's just that brininess, that punch.
Yeah.
And now I'm known for my picadillo recipe.
Nice.
I get friends who request it all the time.
Oh, nice.
We may have to do
gotta
that
make
I
too.
see a field trip. I see a field trip in our future.
I gotta make it for Gasparilla every year.
Well,
We
we're coming
serve-
to Andy's
we serve
house for
for breakfast
Gasparilla.
with eggs.
Oh, wow.
wow.
On Cuban bread. It's great.
man.
Yeah.
That
Our
does-
kids
that does
used
sound
to.
amazing.
I used to fry eggs with the leftover spaghetti
Oh, yeah.
and put that on
On
top.
top.
Yeah.
They used
So you
to
have
love
the picadillo
that.
leftovers,
Yeah.
and then you get a couple of fried eggs on
Oh,
top of
Very
that.
Sounds
good.
great.
It's an
Very
amazing
good.
meal,
Yeah.
and it stays with you, so
Yeah.
that'll hold you through the afternoon.
We
Hey,
have
they
a
got
caller
by-
already.
By the way, the
Yeah.
Argudos are home and they're watching the show right now.
Yay!
So they're back from
Welcome back,
Guatemala.
Argudos. We missed
Hello.
you. Thank you so much for looking in on us tonight. And if you get a chance, call us and tell us what your favorite meal is, and of course, give us your Bolita number.
Yes.
We've got a caller, Andy. Shall we take that call?
Of course.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Caller, you're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Natasha Lewis, and I'm calling from Tampa.
Hi, Natasha
Hi.
Lewis, first-time caller,
Yes.
long-time watcher.
No.
Okay, well, I'll take my bell ring back. That was a premature
Welcome
ring.
to the
Welcome
show.
to the show, Natasha. We're so glad you're out there watching. What
I was
prompted?
wondering if y'all heard the rumor
Okay.
of the sea breeze coming back.
We have.
As
We
a
have
matter of
heard
fact,
some murmuring
in the last
about
hour,
that.
That was a topic of discussion
Yeah.
just before we went on the air. Andy has an inside information, and Steve has been talking to a lady
Helen
today.
Richards.
In fact,
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to drop her name like that. You name dropper, you. But Miss
That was my
Rich,
question of the night. If y'all had heard of it, because I've seen the sign.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
and
saw a sign
we-
also, and it was for a food truck. The one I saw was out in Brandon area.
correct. We are seeing signs everywhere, and
Signs,
yeah,
everywhere.
And we're not
signs.
sure if that's the beer or the fact that there are signs. But we did also read something. I think it may have been in creative loafing. I'm not exactly sure. But Andy, can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I spoke to Helen Richards actually just this morning. I think
Steve
after
did?
after Steve talked to her. Yeah, it's 301 and Causeway Boulevard. So actually just a
That's
few
where we-
miles from
that's
where
where we saw
the
the
original
sign.
was.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it's going to be out of a truck. It's going to be a big truck.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be takeout.
Initially.
Yeah, and it's going to be
Is the idea to perhaps at some point then have a single freestanding structure so that you can kind
Maybe not.
perhaps I
Maybe
don't know.
not.
But they
Food
only have
trucks
the
are the
license
thing
to do
now.
the food truck
Okay.
thing
Yeah.
right now.
Well,
Yeah.
why not
And
take
I
the
think-
baby steps?
Yeah, I think they're going to see where it goes. I mean, a lot
We
of
need to take a
restaurants-
trip out there when that happens with the food cam
take our
and do
food
it.
Let's
cam
do
out
that.
and do a
Yeah,
little
that'd
bit.
be fun.
Absolutely.
The Sea Breeze is such a wonderful tradition here, and what was it? 19? Was it 36? Was it earlier than 36?
No, it was 26.
26.
Yes. Wow.
Missed it by that
That
much.
much.
Yeah.
So 1926, and then of course when it went away, everybody kind of got real sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
everybody was
absolutely.
hurting in their heart for a hot minute.
Oh, me
there.
too.
And now, you know,
I don't even know where to go for shrimp anymore.
the prospect of that coming back is, I think, people are going to get excited.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the response will be overwhelming. Natasha, thank you so much for your
Yes,
call. But
thank you for
before you
calling.
go, you have to tell us your favorite Tampa meal that you remember.
Double crab.
Devil
Okay,
crab.
devil crabs. We'll put you down, Natasha, for devil crabs.
Actually grew up on the Palmetto Beach right there close to the Sea Breeze, so yeah, I would never forget the double crabs. They had the greatest double crabs.
And I know
Great.
you're excited about them, the prospect of them coming back as well, as we all are.
Oh, yes.
And 1 through 16, darling, do you have a lucky number in that range, 1 through 16?
15?
15. We'll give you 15.
Okay.
Okay, there's a $20 gift certificate from La Sétima Cafe on the line. We hope you win. Thanks for calling, and we're here every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We don't always talk about food, but we do talk interesting stuff here on the Tampa Native Show, so we invite you to call back anytime.
And we talk a
I
lot.
am a Tampa native, so I will become a fan.
Great.
Where did you go to school, Natasha? What high school did you go to?
I actually went to McFarland. It was,
McFarland Elementary School?
no, it was McFarland off of McDill. It was for school for young married women.
Oh, okay,
okay.
okay, excellent. We listen, and it's also an education here every
Yes.
week on the Tampa Native
Yeah.
Show, and that's something we did not know. Maybe we have to do a show dedicated to
I think so.
the McFarland School. Thank you for letting us know about that.
What was your last name again, Natasha? Your last name?
My maiden name was Brito.
Oh,
Brito.
Brito. That's a very common Tampa
Any
name.
relation to Gene?
Jean Brito?
I don't believe so.
Okay, just wondered because Gene Brito and Bill Hernandez owned the Florida Sporting Goods downtown for many, many, many years. And that's where most of us who aspired to be baseball players and football players and
Got your
used to buy our
uniforms,
gears, our gear every spring. And I just thought that name Brito sounds familiar. Thank you for calling, Donna. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Quick announcement, Mario.
Yes, sir.
It looks like Tom sent us another email, and they're still showing off air, so we can maybe alert the front office here. And also, Angela Ramori sent crab enchilada. Was his favorite,
okay.
Crab
favorite
enchilada.
food.
We talked about crab enchilada.
Yeah.
Andy, tell us what you know about jaiba enchilada. Tell us a little bit about what you know. And if you don't know it as fact, make it up, Andy. Because we can't fact check you right here.
I've done quite a bit of research, and actually, it's a very common dish around Latin America and the Caribbean, except it's always served over rice.
Okay.
Now, here in Tampa, it's been served over spaghetti for a long, long time. So, you know, the best we could tell, of course, is that the Italians, they had all the macaroni factories really early on here, making spaghetti, not just macaroni. Macaroni used to just be a generic term.
macaroni.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pasta.
Yeah.
So it's one of those dishes where it's kind of part Italian, part you know, Cuban, Latin American. It's got the spice of Cuba. It's got the
Suffice it to say that we also know that a lot of the fishermen in the area, the Baromis, the Mattasinis, the Mirabellas, were Italian too. So
yeah.
maybe they offered their influence. Hey, we'll sell you the crabs, but you better put this over pasta.
Yeah,
I'm just guessing.
And just a very, I mean, you can't imagine a cheaper dish at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Most people would just go crabbing, get their own crabs, and
Pastas are
then it's a
expensive.
very much a family dish too.
Correct.
Kind of like families that come around that big pot and everything, and you throw the newspapers out on the
Cuban
picnic
bread.
table or whatever, and
Yeah,
you cracking
newspaper.
those crabs and sauce is flying everywhere. It's just one of those messy delights, you know.
And you go outside and rinse yourself off with a hose when you're
Yeah,
Of course.
And in the old
That's
days,
the
it
part I
wasn't
never
uncommon
quite
for people
got.
to actually start a fire on the beach and bring the sauce with them and cook it right up there.
As I hear you say that, so that might have been very well our Boston clam bake.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
in the New England
That
states,
would
they
make
had clam
sense.
bakes. We
Yeah.
had our high enchilada at the beach.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out that picture, if I could, for just a minute. And if you could just show that picture, we want to talk about this, Andy. You'll find this rather interesting.
This is very- very
we started Amarillo Sandwiches and More. Juan Santayana, dear friend of ours.
Hi, Juan. We hope you're feeling better.
Who is on the mend now. We do hope you're feeling better, Juan. Thank you for reminding me, darling. This particular meal, which is such a classic here, well, Steve, what's it called?
Arroz blanco con huevos frito.
I just like to hear him say that.
I love to say
I
that.
put him on it all the time.
Arroz blanco.
They called
con
this meal,
huevos
they named
frito.
it after our show. It was the Tampa Natives Show Day
Special.
Special. And it was every Wednesday, and our
Okay.
show was on Wednesdays. And for $5, you get all of that plus
Plus café con
a
leche.
café con leche.
Okay. Nice.
And that was the generous portion of rice that they
Yes, it
served.
was.
And I kept telling one, I said,
Yeah.
Juan, either take some of the rice away
Or add another egg."
another egg. It's just not enough. But it was wonderful.
Sure,
And
sure.
you'd be
It was good.
surprised how many people would go in there
Yeah, and order.
Oh, yeah.
because it reminded them
It was
of
packed.
you know,
Oh,
something
yeah.
they ate since
They're
since
used.
they
Our
were a
childhood.
kid.
Absolutely.
So that was the Tampa Natives Show
Special.
All Day Special. So if anybody out there would like to pick up that tradition, well, that would be wonderful to hear. All right, do we have any more calls? We do have
We
a caller.
do. Hello?
Okay. Okay.
Oh, we're having. Well, you know what? If we're experiencing technical difficulties on the lines currently, do you want to offer a cell phone line so they can give us a call? On
We
the
could
cell
do
phone?
that on my cell phone. Want to do that?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do it. Let's do it.
All right. The number is, and maybe
Here's
Eric
the
can
number.
post this.
Here's the number. We're having
You're
technical
putting it
difficulties
out
now. What I'm
You
understanding.
can call
is
after the show too if you want.
Stevie, before you give that number out, Steve's going to give
Okay.
out his personal
Yeah.
number now, so no crack calls, okay? It's Tampa Steve, Quito Steve, no crack calls. But here's what I'm understanding tonight. There must be some kind of a planetary interstellar wormhole that we're lapsing into because our phone lines are down
Oh.
and the feed on the internet is down. So perhaps I'm not even here right now. I don't know. I know I need a haircut.
You're here.
This I know I need, but
And we have more pictures too
let's
for
go to the
Andy.
next
Yeah,
picture.
pictures.
Let's go to the next picture and we'll talk about that one.
And we'll get the
because
phone
Andy's-
number in a second.
Yeah, we'll get that phone number out to you in just a second. Keep trying that phone number. And well, these are just plátano maduros.
Yeah,
here.
well,
Yes.
yeah.
Which are delicious and sweet.
Let's go into
And Goya
Andy's.
found a way to freeze fry them, or
Yes.
to fast freeze them.
Yeah.
Fast
That's the term.
freeze.
Yeah, it's like quick freeze.
Yeah,
Yeah,
quick
Yeah.
freeze. So now, because when we were growing up, that was a process and a labor of love. You had to first of all get the maduro, the plátanos, let them ripen, and then cut them typically long ways. I remember Abuela would put them in the little cauldron and sort of fry them halfway. Then take them out and let them cool for a minute. With the same peel of the plátano, smash them out and make them the larger,
Oh, yeah.
and then refry them for another couple of minutes.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now you go for it, $1.50.
Yeah.
And Goya has them ready to
Absolutely.
eat. And they're not
They're
bad.
always bitter fresh.
Oh, they're better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything is
I just
better.
love the caramelization.
Yeah,
the
that's my
sugars.
favorite, the
Oh,
crunchy.
Yeah.
It's almost a dessert.
It really-
It's marketed as a vegetable side.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's
Kinda like a
amazing is that
banana.
all the sugar is just latent in the
In the
plant
plátanos.
thing. You don't have to add any sugar.
Right.
It just
Yeah.
it comes out as you cook.
Yeah.
And the sweeter the plátanos. And you know, the tostón is just the opposite. The
Yeah,
green plant
green, yes.
is just the opposite. That's the one you might want to add a little salt to, and it's more like a potato. It's very starchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I opt for the sweet maduros.
Absolutely. Me too.
I'll eat the other one, don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
yeah, yeah.
You know, tostones are very good as well. What's our next image? Let's go to that next picture. While we're waiting for our phone lines to come back
We'll
up.
put them on speakerphone. I think Eric's going to put the number up
Here's
here in a
one.
second
Who's
too.
this
Does he
guy?
have it?
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Stevie, go
okay.
ahead and give
There
out
it
that
is.
number.
It's 992-5259.
813 if you're calling from anywhere in the universe. 992-5259. The phone will ring right here in Steve's hand. He'll take your call. We'll put you on speaker, and we'll listen. We get through this. This is live TV.
Yep.
And we don't mess around here at the Tampa Native Show.
And my ringtone is a dog barking. So
if the dog starts to
Interesting.
bark, who let the dogs out? Who? Hey,
Who is
Let's
that?
talk
who
about
is
this
that
picture.
nice man there in that photograph?
That I thought would bring back some memories for some folks. That's the Peruli band. See all the Perulis on the stick to the left of the photograph?
Oh,
wow.
Piruli.
Piruli. Okay.
Piruli.
Okay. Yep.
Because we know a couple
What
of
are
Perulis.
Piruli?
It's a proper
What they
name. It's a
are.
family proper name.
Okay.
Are they candies? I don't
Yes.
know.
It's sort of like a lollipop.
Oh.
Yeah,
It has
and
different-
it's a long cone. Yeah.
Oh.
And it's got different colors.
Oh,
It's dyed
fun.
different colors, and yeah, it's just a big lollipop.
How cute.
Shaped in a cone and it's long.
And they
He
always
looks like a
sold
nice
it on the
old
street.
man.
And of course, he sold bolita tickets too.
Oh
Of course.
Bolitero
Yeah.
slash
Yeah.
Piruli salesman.
That's where the money was coming from.
Hey, so if anybody's out there and they have fond memories of either having a piruli that you purchased from the piruli salesman on the vendor on the street, or you happen to have won a bolita drawing that your piruli salesman sold you the ticket to.
I like
that
the
would be
hat.
great.
And we'll mention also that these photos came from the USF library that Andy hand chose for today's show.
Yeah,
Tonight's show.
these historic images are.
That's a nice
yep,
picture.
all
I
from
like
our
that.
Can you put a
collection.
year on that for us?
It's hard to say. It's
Was
really
a wood structure? With the
30s?
wood
Yeah, it's
structure?
definitely
Maybe
before urban
30s?
renewal. So
Yeah.
because you got some of those wood structures there in the background, I'd say 40s or 50s
There
probably.
you go.
Really?
There you go. I'm going to go with 40s.
Yeah.
Eric, if we can, let's bring up another photo.
That's pretty cool.
It is a good picture.
That's pretty cool.
Well, there we are.
Because he's 1940s.
Oh yeah, this is. I
This
like
is
this
interesting.
This
photo
is a
too.
good one too.
Let's
This-
take us out
I
of
remember
this
seeing
photo.
this one before.
This is 1899.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And this is one of the Union soup kitchens during a strike. There was
Really?
a big strike in 1899. Actually, one of the few strikes that the unions won. And I love that picture because it just shows just how determined everyone looked. You know.
Yeah.
Now, were these African American
super
brothers,
amazing.
or were these because the Maceo group was here too, and those
Oh,
were
yeah.
the Cuban.
I would say they're all probably Afro-Cuban.
Afro-Cuban, right?
Oh yeah,
right, right.
yeah, and they're cooking up the soup and everything. I've done a lot of research on the soup kitchens of the unions over the years. So
That's a
I've
very
always,
cool picture.
Yeah, and it's rare. It's very rare that the labor kind of culture was actually documented at all. And
Yeah.
we're just lucky to have this Jose San Feliz
amazing.
photograph album, and all the photographs he took were from the 1890s. And
Wow.
just
I like their
beautiful.
hats.
You know, yeah, great
Somewhere
stuff.
in Ybor City, safe to say, this photo.
Oh yeah, Ybor City.
Great quality photos too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for that
he was
year.
friends with the
Considering,
Burger
yeah.
Brothers. The Burger Brothers did all the well before
Yep.
there was even a Burger Brothers theme. Samuel Burger was the one who did all the development for San Feliz.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, it's just neat.
Yeah.
Eric, let's
And,
try
and
this.
again, the quality of the photo. The
Yeah.
quality of the photo, because they back then, you know, it was glass plate, right?
Yep.
It was the big camera, it was a box camera. It was,
Oh yeah, big.
The processing was amazing.
Yeah,
and,
you had to lug a lot of equipment around.
and it didn't come out so good, but that one came out very, very good.
Oh yeah.
Looks like we have a call.
Your phone is barking.
We do.
Go ahead.
Okay, let's do this.
Bring
Okay,
it to the,
let's bring
there
to the
you
mic
go.
here.
Calling for the call-in show for Andy Huse.
Hi, caller. You're on the air. This is the Tampa Native Show. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Can you put it by the mic?
This is Helen Richards.
Oh, it's
Hi,
not
Helen
Helen
Richards. Well,
Richards.
Helen, listen. This is Mario Nunez. We would like to encourage you to speak right into your telephone. And don't wait for the response on the TV, because that little 7-second delay might throw you off. We're so happy that you called tonight.
And I just want to tell you that you have one of the most interesting people in Tampa on your show tonight.
Tampa
We
Steve, he's
do.
very interesting. Thank you so much for bringing that up.
Andy
That would be
Hughes.
Andy Hughes sitting next to me.
Yes, we enjoy Andy.
And when it comes to food, he knows food, and he loves Tampa. When we were making the Sea Breeze cookbook, we had a ball because we took every recipe in the cookbook, and he sampled it all. He was my tester.
How nice. How fun to
Oh,
be a
yeah.
tester.
Yeah, I told her for the. Go ahead.
It was, we did, go ahead, Andy.
Oh no, I was just saying. I just volunteered to be your guinea pig for the new Sea Breeze.
We all would like to, Helen.
would
if-
like
if-
to be tasters.
If there's an opportunity in the world that the Tampa Native Show cast and crew can be there on your grand opening night, it would be a privilege for us to be there.
Well, it's sort of scary because everybody that we've talked to wants to bring 30 people that day.
Oh, yeah.
We'll have That is scary. I don't know how many devil crabs we can make at a time. It will be the original sea breeze.
That's wonderful.
exciting.
Well, that's
That's
terribly
exciting.
That is
exciting.
amazing.
And we won't tell anybody, even though there's a lot of people watching this TV show. It will stay right here between us.
Well, you know what it is that we have to practice the cooking and get the stoves all right, and
Sure.
get the food all right,
Yeah.
and get everything just perfect.
Yeah.
So when you come to us, we want it to be like a full-style restaurant, so you will take it home, where it will be a takeout.
That'll be great.
Well, speaking on
We
behalf
saw your signs out there.
Speaking on behalf of the show, I know Andy as well, and those lifelong Tampa residents that have such fond memories of the Sea Breeze. We are so thrilled that we're going to get a chance to go back and enjoy some of that wonderful food. And we understand you have a part in bringing the Sea Breeze back to life, and we just like to congratulate you, one, and say thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you very much on behalf of
Definitely.
the citizens of
Making
Tampa.
a lot of people happy.
Because there's going to be a lot of us sharing that love when you get back to work.
That is the best thing. It's not the food, it's not the truck, it's all the wonderful people that have such a wonderful appetite for the sea breeze, because we did make memories when we were
Yeah.
Yes, you
I
did.
agree.
Yes, you
Absolutely.
did. We'll
Yeah.
be sure and come out there with our camera and get a little video
we
of
have to
that,
do
and
that.
perhaps we can even get you on the show somewhere down the road so we can tell that story for
Yeah.
everybody once we get underway and the Sea Breeze is back open. Can we get your lucky bolita number between 1 and 16?
Absolutely, it's 7.
Seven.
Lucky number
Lucky
7.
seven. Okay.
Sorry, Keitha Beatty. And can we also get your favorite Tampa meal, from one that brings back the most memories for you? One that you just love the most?
It's flan, hot pepper con leche with a hot Cuban toast, and bowl of back beans and white rice.
Wow!
Delicious.
There you go.
Very good.
That deserves a
Very
bell ring.
good.
Thank you, Helen, so much
Thank
for
you,
calling
Helen.
in
Thank
tonight.
you.
We're
Thanks,
sorry for the technical difficulties, but I think everybody was able to hear you, and certainly we were here on the set. So we're honored that you called us tonight, and please
Can't wait.
Please keep in touch. We're just waiting and waiting.
But one last thing
Sure.
is that Andy, it does not do him justice if you talk just food. He knows more about Tampa history than almost anybody you could talk with.
Yeah, we're going to have him on more than a few times.
Well, Andy
He's a regular guest.
signed
Yeah.
when he first came on with us, Helen. We'll give you a little insider secret here. He signed a talent release for the next 10 years. So we got him booked whenever we need him for the next.
That's right.
He doesn't know it yet, does he?
He's a wonderful guest, and we're happy to have him on our
Yes.
staff.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
Helen.
Thank you.
Love you, Helen.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So
Bye-bye.
you helped her write a cookbook.
Yep.
I
And
did.
Let's
tasted
talk about that.
everything.
Let's
How
talk about
fun
that.
was
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah,
Let's
that
talk
was
about
it.
that.
Was great. Well, I mean, when I was first kind of recruited to do it, I didn't realize just how institutional, like legendary the Sea Breeze was. I
Yeah.
mean, an integral part, arguably one of the people who popularized the devil crab.
Yes, sir.
Them and Miranda really at the same time
Yes,
did it
sir.
in the 20s. So for me, it was a great educational
History.
experience. And then meeting Helen Richards, Robert Richards, her husband, her late husband, rest in peace. Just, salt of the earth folks,
You can hear it in her voice.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and just wonderful folks. Invited me into their home. It got to be a ritual every Saturday. I'd go over there about 11 o'clock. The same train would would block my path
you.
every time on the way down because I'd go down to South County, out Palmetto Beach, etc.
41.
But and then every time we would work on the text, and then she would make something, and it might be biscuits one time, it might be a soup another time, and every time it was just wonderful. And I have some friends who occasionally I get invited for dinner over there, and every time I took somebody, they're just like, when can we go back there again? I mean, I still have a friend who, he just every
He's
time
waiting
he
for that
mentioned the
invitation.
Sea Breeze or the Richards, he's just like, oh man, food, man. It's
Well, you heard what she
amazing.
mentioned there.
That's
She said
great.
the white rice.
Yeah.
She said the cup of soup.
Oh, yeah.
Black bean soup with the Cuban bread,
Yeah.
the café con leche, and the flan. I heard
Yes,
it was the flan.
yeah,
there.
the
Yes,
flan
yes.
was
Well,
the first thing she
And
said.
another thing they did really well there was an oyster stew.
Oh,
Just
wow.
great.
Oyster crackers.
Yeah. But
Oh,
it's
sounds good.
kind of creamy, but not too heavy.
Oh, I can't wait.
And I'm thinking that I could just see Andy going, Helen, we're just not quite there yet. We need to add a couple more chapters so I can keep coming back on Saturdays.
Man, it was
hard
great.
to turn that away. Well,
That's
great.
good that you called in.
It's wonderful that you called in. Those moments happen to us here on the Tampa Native Show more times than we can count. They're very special to us. I mean, we call them those little tingling,
Goosebump moments.
those warm fuzzy moments when people of significance in our community call us and share with us, and you can hear it, like the 15-minute girl said, in their voice, the sincerity that they've touched lives as we've touched lives together. We're just recording this wonderful history along with Andy and the things that he's studied and the things that he's lived through. And Andy's unique because if you're just watching us and just meeting Andy for the first time, growing up in the Chicagoland area, he's not a native per se, although he came here to Clearwater as a young man and then became fond of Tampa once he started to attend the University of South Florida, and it was on.
Oh yeah.
Andy's kind of that guy that grew into and is not for one day taken for granted what Tampa has to offer. Some of us that are third and fourth generation, we're very, very proud, but we can lose sight of the fact too how special our history is. And that's not the case with Andy.
No.
Andy every day he enjoys talking about it, and that's why we're so happy to have him with us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy.
Oh, thank you.
And Andy, this picture here, by the way, I was curious about this. I didn't know what that was. But
Okay, yeah, bring that up. I love this picture. All right, this is Palmetto Beach area, and those are cypress logs. They've been hollowed out to accommodate tankards of rum.
Oh,
Really?
So during Prohibition, they would
that's what it
actually
is.
float the logs into Ybor City right under the nose of all the officials and everything. Because they would actually float cypress logs to Ybor City to make the boxes, cigar boxes, other kinds of things.
Yeah.
No, cedar logs, not cypress. I'm sorry, cedar.
Cedar.
Okay.
So basically, what they would do is just they put these logs back together with the rum
Ingenious.
inside, and they just float it right in.
Ingenious.
Nobody would know that.
That's great.
Very sneaky.
The only reason why they found this was there was a hurricane. It was 1921 that year, during Prohibition, of course.
And they went up?
I guess it got dashed against a seawall and
Yeah.
split
Cracked
open.
open.
Yep.
that's fascinating.
That's really cool.
But it just goes to show all I can think of is like the drug trade today of people like
Yeah.
swallowing balloons.
Oh, yeah.
There's no amount of like trouble or expense to go through because
Yeah.
there's so much money
Get
to
your
be
product
made.
there. Get
Yeah.
your product there.
Yeah.
Part of our notorious
We're
past.
watching
What a great story.
on HBO currently Boardwalk Empire,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
which is the story of Atlantic
really
City in
good.
the 1920 Prohibition in the 1920s.
Yep.
And it's
I was
award
just
winning.
thinking about
Yeah.
that.
Emmy award
It
winning
really
production.
it turned this country upside down.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, it took like thugs like Al Capone, who was nobody,
Yep.
Yeah.
and elevated them.
Yeah.
Same with the Trafficantes,
Right.
same
Yeah.
with the
Right.
Charlie Walls and
Right.
all the
Yeah.
people here. All these people would have been nobody without Prohibition.
Right.
And the drug trade is doing the same thing for people
Currently.
now. I mean, you got drug lords who are like, they got minor fiefdoms in their country.
Yep.
So.
They're
They
armed,
always find
they're,
a way.
They're more armed than a lot
Than
of
the
small
government.
countries are.
Oh, yeah.
Governments, right.
Absolutely.
And so when do we learn? What's the takeaway there, man? When you put a restriction on something, people
Yeah.
are going to find a way, man.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to find a way, and that was a great illustration
That was-
there because
that was
fantastic.
that took some craftsmanship.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they had to make those little
Ingenuity.
indentions
Yeah.
perfect to fit the bottles, and then they create the bottle to fit. It's,
Well, now they're using
submarines
submarines and everything else.
Have you
and
seen
it's
that?
it's getting very, very.
I mean, the
advanced.
U.S. Navy and the Coast Guard has to be on top of that because
Yeah.
for every one they catch, 15 or 20 get through.
Absolutely.
For every tunnel that they bust in Arizona that's going into Mexico,
Yeah.
and these tunnels are intense.
Yeah.
They go for a couple of miles. They have
Chop
lighting.
suey
They
Oh,
have
yeah.
air conditioning.
Oh,
They have
absolutely.
rail boxes that
Yeah.
run on rails.
How about this
Oh, yeah.
picture? That looks interesting.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
Chop
this is-
suey restaurant.
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Restaurant.
All right, the best I could tell is the lady who ran this restaurant, and I don't know if her name is up there.
It
Well,
is.
there's
It
a
says
Ralph Reina.
Reina.
Okay.
Proprietor.
All right,
Italian-
no, I'm
Italian
thinking
name.
of a different one, but there was a couple chop suey houses early in Tampa's history. This one obviously was he's got a Latin surname, but then there was another lady who had like a kind of a Jewish sounding name. I can't remember her name offhand, but what was so interesting to me is that it was Bern Laxer's aunt.
Oh, wow.
And Bern and Gert, when they got married in New York City, they came down here to Tampa just to visit. They weren't going to stay here. And they ended up staying, opening up a real small stand, with like ice cream
Yeah.
and sandwiches, and it just kind of grew from there. But it's
Wow.
interesting because the Chinese immigrants don't get a lot of play because a lot of them came and went. They would come to Tampa, they would come to San Francisco, take the Transcontinental Railway. They'd end up here, and then sometimes they'd stay here for a while before moving on to Cuba, or et cetera, moving out of Cuba and stay here. So you had opium dens in the 1890s through the 1920s. You had Chinese restaurants, all the laundries. All the laundry people were Chinese.
No digging, no laundry.
There it is.
Yeah, so it's it's really interesting, but it's one of those kind of, they're very transient population,
Yeah.
so they didn't often stay. But it's interesting because you can still find some traces of that stuff, like these ads here. And I actually got to know a guy named Peter Chen who runs China Yuan, really nice Chinese restaurant here in town, and his great uncle had a restaurant here back in the 40s and 50s. So
Now we need to talk to him.
Yeah.
maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That would be a
right.
great
I
story.
think that's a story that needs to be told.
Oh, absolutely.
And he's currently in business now.
Oh yeah,
Where is
yeah.
the
Where's the
restaurant?
It's on Armenia, just north of Waters.
Okay.
It is excellent. It's one of the best. That and Yummy House are the two best.
Oh, I
places.
heard about
Yummy
Yummy
House is
House.
good.
My
We've heard about
son's
that.
been there.
And this restaurant is called
China Yuan, as in the Chinese dollar, YUAN.
UAN.
Yeah,
Like the
there's-
guy
Yep.
from.
highly recommended.
There's also a small population here in Tampa of Chinese-Cuban
Yes.
mix. And there
Next
was,
door to his parents.
Yeah, really, okay. Chong's Auto Body Paint. I had my truck painted there 25
yeah.
years ago.
Well, I
But,
wouldn't be surprised if that Reina name, if that was Afro, Cuban Chinese, perhaps.
Could
Yeah.
be.
But you
many,
know,
many a Cuban immigrant, many a Cuban nickname Chino.
Chino.
For that
Yeah,
very reason.
yeah.
Because there was a lot of mixing going
Yeah.
on, and of course,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be uncommon to find a cousin or two in your family tree that
Chino.
had an uncle named Chino.
Now, as long as we're talking about food, let me present
Please.
you with an idea here.
Okay.
All right, before the Chinese came, they started to replace the slaves.
Okay.
So, beginning probably 1860s, 1870s, because the slave trade was banned, and then of course slavery was banned
Yes.
in Cuba, I think 1880s. All right, so before the Chinese came, there was no rice in Cuba. I mean, when you ate a meal in Cuba, you had, potatoes, yuca, sweet potatoes, something like that. You did not eat things on a bed of rice. And
Wow,
it's
I
rather
had no
recent. So
idea.
try to imagine Cuban food with no rice.
That's
No.
interesting.
It seems
I can't.
wrong.
I can't.
It does
seems
seem wrong. It's
right?
very
I mean,
wrong.
What do you eat with your black beans?
I can't say arroz blanco.
What do you
con
with your
huevo.
picadillo?
Yeah, so it's interesting because so much of stuff that we think is centuries of tradition is all very, very recent. That
Yeah.
goes for all kinds of
Last
food.
150 years.
Yeah.
The rice that my mom used to
Very
buy at the
interesting.
cash and carry where we used to shop in our neighborhood was Chinito rice.
Okay.
That's
Chinito
right.
was the name of the rice.
That's
It
right.
had a little
Chinito
chinito on the packaging,
Ah.
with the.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
So it makes
What is
perfect sense.
that?
It makes perfect sense. That's a pretty interesting
that roast
dish right
pork?
there. We've got a video to show in a couple of seconds, but we want to talk about this
like it's got-
before we get to that. Stevie,
cheese.
where'd you
Yeah.
get that from?
That was from
Is that
La
from La
Septima.
Septima?
La Septima's
Oh, is
website.
it?
That's from
Yeah.
Ronnie's restaurant. Ronnie, if you're out there watching and
I
we know
think
you
so.
are, call us. Call us on Steve's phone. That's 813-992-5259. Is that right, Steve?
That's right.
Call us and tell us what we're looking at there. That looks something like yellow rice, black beans. Could that be something like
Pork.
shrimp, chopped shrimp? I'm
It looks like a combo. It looks
I
like
see
several
some-
kinds of meat.
yeah, no,
Something
it
with
is. He's got
tomatoes.
a dish there that's called Around 7th Avenue. And
Walk
it's a
around,
sample.
I think.
Walk around.
7th
Or
Avenue.
as
It's a
Fran
sample.
calls it.
Yeah, walk
Never
around.
mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
that's another story altogether. And it's a sample. So you get picadillo as one,
Around
you
the
get ropa vieja as another,
Oh, yeah.
and roast pork.
Okay.
And you get a healthy portion of
Sign
all.
me up, yeah.
So yeah, it's
They have delicious food. Delicious
Yeah.
food.
So that would be a meal that you'd find over there at
Yeah.
La Septima.
Eric, if you can, bring up another one of the historic photos that Andy.
One of those black and
Yeah.
black and white images.
Yeah, how
that we
about
have.
the number 6, the co-op?
Image number
Yes.
6?
Yeah.
Number 6.
So
Talk
All
about
right,
that,
so
Andy.
this is from, I believe, the Tampa Tribune.
Okay.
And you can see socialism to be practiced here. I mean,
Oh,
it's
my.
a very stark
Watch
headline,
out.
right? And what was happening, World War I had really just screwed up the economy really bad. Inflation was very, very steep. It was much worse than it was during World War II. We had a lot more wage and price controls in place in World War II. So World War I, things got out of whack. So a lot of people in Ybor City started to take collective action. So first, they would have boycotts. We will not buy shoes for a year because the price of shoes is out of control. Could you believe they actually boycotted onions at one point?
Oh, wow.
Wow,
Onions.
that
Now,
made
try
a
to
big
imagine,
difference to the food.
That would mess with everybody's food. in the
Unless somebody
city.
was
Yeah,
growing
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Especially Cuban and Spanish. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
you just think you're sofrito would never be
Can't
right.
make it.
No,
Nothing.
So so they started cooperative groceries, cooperative restaurants, and of course the idea is you invest, in the business at the beginning of
Right.
the year.
Yes.
Maybe once a month you would have to work, stocking
does their part.
shelves or
Everybody does their
whatever.
part.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think
And then
that's
the
a
rest
great
of the
plan,
time,
actually.
it's very, very cheap. And
Yeah.
the co-ops are kind of making a big comeback
They
here in
are.
the U.S. I mean, whether you're talking
Gardens
about cooperative
and-
gardens,
yeah.
things like that, farms.
I think it's great.
And groceries, but it was getting to the point where there's cooperative retail, restaurants, all this stuff, and it was really catching on in Ybor City, and Tampa did not like this idea at all because this could
Taken away
spread.
from-
yeah,
This
right,
could
right,
really
right.
spread,
Yeah.
So all the retail establishment is scared. So that's how you get these headlines splashing across socialism.
Socialism.
Yeah, and the thing
Dun-dun-dun.
is cooperatives is really, you look
It's the
at
barter system.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you
It's been going on
you
since
also look
civilization.
at the healthcare and stuff like
Right.
that for the social clubs and all
Yes.
this stuff.
Yeah.
Cooperatives were really
Yeah.
big and very effective.
Yes.
Very effective.
And thing is I'd love to see something like cooperative banks
Yes.
come about,
Hello.
and take the money away from all these
Yes.
people.
Right.
But what was interesting was the Russian Revolution, of course, happened in 1918, and the Civil War kind of lasted 1919, 1920, and communism became a very dirty word overnight.
Bet it did.
And then at that, by the 20s, the cooperatives here had been stamped out by the early 20s because the wholesalers wouldn't sell to them, so they couldn't get their stuff. And there was a small amount of wholesalers that still, mostly in Ybor City,
Right.
But eventually it just wasn't enough.
They're making a comeback. though.
Interesting.
They are making
They
a comeback.
are,
And,
yeah.
and what better time?
The
what-
time is now. 15 minutes left of the show.
That 15-minute girl got us again. Before we go on to the next picture, let's go ahead, if we could. We want to call up a little video that we had the opportunity to do with
At La Septima.
at La Septima Cafe with Ronnie Fernandez. He's going to show us in this video and talk over a little bit. We hope you can hear it. The volume is a little bit down, so
Yeah,
you
it
might
is
want to turn
kinda
up your
low.
volume on your TV. He's going to talk to us a little bit about the desserts, those tantalizing, delicious,
Mouth-watering.
delicious desserts, mouth-watering, apt description.
Yes.
Desserts that he has there at his restaurant for you, and one in particular that's seasonal.
Oh,
It's a pumpkin cheesecake. Get ready for that. Let's show that video.
just in time for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, enjoy that.
Tampa Native Show fans, Mario Nunez here at La Septima Cafe in Brandon, along with proprietor, owner extraordinaire. Hi, Ronnie Fernandez. Say hello to everybody out there.
Mucho gusto, everybody.
It's Ronnie Fernandez. We're sitting here today at the table with just a delectable assortment. Get a good shot of that 15-minute girl of desserts, and Ronnie is going to take us through all this wonderful, wonderful assortment. Ronnie, tell us a little bit about, for instance, start right here closest to you.
This is rice pudding. This recipe comes from Campermore Dairy people. She gave me this recipe many years ago, and it's one that we've kept, and very traditional rice pudding.
This we experienced today. Tell us a little bit about that.
This is my mother's recipe for bread pudding. This is something that you grew up in West Tampa and Ybor City with, and it's a lot of fruit cocktail and guava in it.
This is a seasonal special.
And the seasonal special is our wonderful pumpkin cheesecake. This we make once a year from now through Christmas. It'll be available.
Ronnie, right here?
That is the traditional natilla, and that's a Spanish cream custard.
And last but certainly not least, the featured player, perhaps the all-star on this list.
Our signature guava cheesecake.
Tell us how that came about, Ronnie.
Ay, mi madre. That was we had a chef originally named Henry Carbajal.
Sure.
And Henry experimented with different cheesecakes for us, and then over the years we modified it, and it took about maybe 5 years to get it to this status that we really like. But originally it was Henry Carbajal that came up with the idea for us.
And
I can't take all the credit.
No self-respecting person from Ybor City or West Tampa doesn't appreciate good guava anything. And if I can tell you one thing, you make the trip out to Brandon, enjoy any one of these desserts, you won't be
disappointed, and this guava cheesecake is something to behold. Today I got a chance to sample the bread pudding, Ronnie's mom's private recipe, and it's delicious. So get over here to La Septima Cafe in Brandon, that's 702 Lumsden. Meet Ronnie and his wife Dahlia. They'll show you a great time. On behalf of the Tampa Native Show, Mario Nunez. Ready, Ronnie? Let's do it together. Salud and happy days. Love you, Tampa.
And that's a wrap.
How
Very
about that
nice.
for amazing stuff? Now, there's a plate full of
Scotchata.
scotchata right there. You want to talk a little bit about scotchata there, Mr. Hughes?
Scotchata. I mean, what can you say? I mean, is there? I was asking
Everybody's
Steve,
had
is
it.
there such thing as a better party food anywhere? I mean, a Sicilian flatbread pizza like
Filling.
construction, but
Yeah.
it's just I don't know. It's just darn good.
Our family has that for Christmas every year. It's one of our special treats. Some people put it in the oven, warm it up a little bit. Some people like it cold. I prefer it cold.
Yeah, and you've got to pre-order. If you want it over the Christmas holidays,
Yeah,
you've got to pre-order at a bakery. Don't go in there and ask for a sheet. You're not going to find it.
Yeah, that's like your honey baked hams, man. If you don't go in there and order that thing by Thanksgiving, you're not going to get nothing for Christmas.
That's right.
Oyster Bar, real quick. We've got about 6 minutes left, Andy. We could run through these pictures real quick. We want to make sure that we.
Yeah, sure. Well, I just think most people don't know the Goody Goody started as an oyster bar.
I didn't know that.
And, eventually it had barbecue and all kinds of stuff. And eventually it just pared down to its burgers,
Wow.
its basics, and its, and of course, the wonderful pies.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goody goody.
Oh,
Miranda Devil Crabs.
Miranda Devil Crabs, there's an ad for that. And I believe that's from the 1920s. Let me see here. Miranda, oh no, that's from 1955. Okay. This I've actually
Red
done.
vegetarian.
Yes, a vegetarian restaurant in the 1930s.
That's unusual. Huh?
Yeah.
Very unusual because it's run by a Dr. Arguelles. He had a place called, it says Casa de Baños. It was also known as Baños del Sol. It was a bathhouse.
There you
so
go.
it had a separate area for men and women, and it was a therapeutic type place. But he had
Way ahead of
something
his time.
called, and he was really into, he thought people were getting sick because they're poisoning themselves, mainly with refined starches.
Imagine that.
And all that stuff that
That's
we know
exactly
today.
what we're
But his thing was,
happened.
to flush your system
Yeah.
out, you had to eat nothing but grapes.
Yeah.
Way ahead of his time.
Yeah,
Almost
and
100 years
it's really pretty amazing. That's a Falors sandwich. Oh no, that's colonnade.
Colonnade.
Sorry,
Colonnade, yeah.
One of my favorite stories is, I guess it was a streetcar line that went right by there, but it didn't have a stop by the colonnade. So sometimes these kids would get kind of rambunctious, and they'd reach out of the window and throw the arm off of the cable to make it
So
stop,
stop?
and it would
Oh,
go
wow.
right in front of the colonnade, and all the kids would run out, and the conductor would be like, "Damn you!" Because they'd always do it. Yeah.
And bring me a sandwich.
Yes. This is actually one of the sit-ins. I don't know if this is Woolworth's.
Oh, yeah, for
but
the-
it's one
for
of
the
the
blacks.
sit-ins. 1960, of course, was the year of the big sit-ins. Tampa, really notable for having a very peaceful integration process.
Yeah.
Whereas St. Augustine and Tallahassee was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, just bad press.
More of the deep south.
Kudos to Tampa.
Andy, if you'll do us a big favor, that's Sam Gibbons. We need to say
Yeah.
something about Sam Gibbons, who we just
Wow.
lost yesterday, was it? Or the day before?
Yeah,
What a
yesterday,
great
yeah.
man.
Great,
Yeah.
great leader here in
Yeah.
our area, and one that always remembered Tampa. And whenever he was doing his legislative things up there in Tallahassee, he was somebody that everybody got behind.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
And instrumental in forming
USF,
USF too.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, not just that, but the big annexation in 1953. Nobody's mentioned this in the press, but I live in Seminole Heights. I'd still be in the suburbs.
Really?
If it wasn't for Sam.
About half of what is now known as the city of Tampa was all annexed in 53. And he's the one who made it happen.
Maybe we'll bring you back on the next time, Andy.
talk
We'll
about-
talk a little
yeah.
bit more about
yeah.
that
Yes.
political influence. Grab that wheel and
Yeah,
bring it in here.
okay.
We've got a couple of minutes left.
We
wanna
have
make
exactly
sure that-
two.
We want to make sure that,
numbers.
between
3
Natasha and Helen, good luck
Yes.
to both of you. We've got your numbers there. It's closest to without going over. I promise not to screw this up. Andy, give it a
Okay.
good spin.
All right.
And let's
Good
see
luck.
where she stops. Nobody knows. And the winning number is it number 4?
Looks like
Looks
4.
like it's number
Four.
4. Turn that around so you
Everybody
can
went
see.
Yeah, number 4.
So closest to without going over?
Oh wait.
No.
Oh wait a minute.
They all went over.
Oh, yeah, they did. Spin it
You
again,
didn't
Andy.
get it right yet.
Give it again.
Seems to have a
Another wheel
problem
the
with
other
that.
way, and this time it's number
Oh,
2. The third time is charm.
2.
And if this doesn't win it, both of our winners are going to get a... Yep, number 5. So what that means is, after 3 spins, you're out. Natasha and Helen both are going to get
How
a gift
nice.
certificate to La Septima Cafe. So we're very, very happy that both of you called
You will
tonight.
enjoy
because,
that.
See, you can't win
can't
unless
lose.
you get in, and the only way you get in is if you call. Real
2
quick, with a
minutes.
couple of minutes left, Andy,
Yeah.
why don't you tell us what you have upcoming with the Tampa Bay Museum that's really
Yeah, the
interesting?
Tampa History Center.
Excuse me, Tampa Bay
they're-
History Center.
Yeah, they got a new exhibit on coffee, and I'm going to be doing a 3-week class. It's a kind of a joint thing between USF's Lifelong Learning Institute and the Tampa Bay History Center. So every Wednesday, starting next Wednesday, I'm going to be doing a class 2 hours, 1 to 3 in the afternoon.
Is it open to the public?
It's open to the public. I
Free
think
of charge?
I think it's $30 for the whole class.
Okay.
For all 3 sessions. And I don't know if we're allowed to have food in the classroom, but I really hope so because we got the Columbia Cafe right there.
Yeah.
So I want people to be able to snack while we're
Sure.
talking about food. So it should be a lot of fun. I've
Sounds
got
great.
slews of historic images, and we're gonna kind of start with Florida, and we're gonna
Narrow it down to
and get really into the
wanna
nitty
go.
gritty of
Yeah, that
Tampa
sounds really
the next couple weeks.
I know that I'm
Sounds
working
great.
on Wednesdays. Is it a daytime? What time will you be doing
Yeah,
this?
it's a daytime. It's
Oh,
1 to
after
3.
work.
I wanted it to be an evening thing. It just didn't work out.
Well, if the opportunity presents itself, and this goes well, and I expect that it will, Andy, if you've got anything to do with it, maybe
1
there'll be a
minute.
second session, and maybe then we'll be able to attend the second
be
session,
nice.
because
Oh, yeah.
that would be absolutely phenomenal. Because, we're big fans of coffee here as well.
And
So,
food.
and we're
Like
big fans
food.
of Andy Huse here at the
Yes,
Tampa
we
Native
are.
Show.
Oh,
So
yes.
with just about a minute to go.
Amazing.
Where has the hour gone?
And what happened to our phones?
Yeah, we're sorry for the technical difficulties tonight, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? We work on these things and in live television, as you know.
30 seconds.
Sometimes anything can happen, and it
it
usually
did.
does. Andy's web address is right there on your screen. It's www.lib.usf.edu. Reach out there. There's all these photographs and images there as well. Stevie, did you have anything else real quick?
No, I think we're
15
we're about
seconds
there.
to go,
15
so
seconds.
let's do it all together like we usually do. On behalf of our technical director, Eric Cups, hello, Dory, who didn't say hello too many times tonight, we're sorry. Tampa Steve, the 15-minute girl, and Andy Hughes, salute, and happy days.
Back when we were younger and everything seemed new, we used to have a lot of fun, yes we did, no matter what we do. Sleepy days, long summer nights, going anywhere we please, with love that I could call my own, love that I've always known, the city that I call my home, a home from which I never roam. This love affair was meant to be. I love her and she loves me. I remember Tampa, oh, she remembers me. She remembers me. I remember, yeah, yes I do. Oh, I remember, yeah, me and you. I'm a Tampa native, Tampa native, can't you see? I will share my story with you to preserve its history.
All right now, don't forget, Thursdays, 7 p.m. on TBCN, home of the Tampa Native Show.